All right, I'm going to briefly describe the different topics that we can vote on so you have a bit more information for the voting. So the first is abortion. Um, Pretty straightforward. It's about the morality and legality of abortion. The next is aesthetic injustice, and it's kind of a broad category. It's a mix between aesthetics and morality. It's about topics like lookism. So lookism is judging people because of the way that they look and whether or not this is okay. And topics related to this, like having preferences in dating people who look certain ways, is that objectionable or not? AI consciousness is about can robots think? Can they sort of have consciousness? Ancient Greek philosophy, we'd be reading four classic dialogues by Plato, one of the most famous ancient Greek philosophers. The Euthyphro is about what is the right thing to do and why is it the right thing to do that. The Apology is about Plato's teacher Socrates being put on trial for corrupting the youth of Athens. The Crito is about political obligation, and the Symposium is about love. Can art lie is a topic in aesthetics. It's about can art lie? So lying is whatever it is. Art is stuff like paintings, and can paintings lie? Yes or no? Classical Chinese philosophy, we'd be reading Kongzi, Mozi, and Junzi probably. It's about all sorts of stuff, human nature and what the world is like and how one should act and things like this. Classic Indian epistemology. This is about what can we know and how can we know it, and specifically we'd be looking at a lot of classic Indian approaches to this. Classical Islamic philosophy, we'd read Ibn Rushd's The Incoherence of the Incoherence. It's sort of a defense of philosophy against somebody who wrote this book called The Incoherence of the Philosophers. Communism is about what is communism and is it sort of good or bad. Death is about what is death and is death bad for us or not. Early modern European philosophy. We'd be reading a couple of essays by Hume, The Standard of Taste, about like, are there any objective aesthetic judgments? I'm gonna have to move this. And suicide, like, is there anything wrong with suicide? And then we'd read Descartes' famous Meditations on First Philosophy, which is about like epistemology, what can we know and how can we know it, and what are we? And then some responses to Descartes from Elizabeth of Bohemia. Eating animals. This is about, is it wrong to eat animals? And if so, why or why not? Let's see. Let's do this. Epistemology. This is one of the suggested topics. This is just talking more about those various topics we talked about on, I think, the second Wednesday. Truth, knowledge, justification, belief, opinion, etc. And so these are some articles about this, including this sort of very famous article on whether knowledge is justified true belief. Existentialism. This is, what is existentialism? What's it about? Why should you be an existentialist? Free will. Do we have free will? If so, what's it like? If not, how come? Let's see. How can I make this? We're gonna have trouble. I need give me a moment. I need to open up the Microsoft Word version of the syllabus. That's not the syllabus. Okay, this will be better. Where were we? Free will, gender. What is gender, basically? This is a topic in metaphysics. I guess free will is a topic in metaphysics. Hiring and reservations. So should there be reservations for jobs and things like this? And what's sort of the ethics of hiring? So this is ethics and political philosophy. Indian and Buddhist philosophy. So this is about all sorts of stuff, mostly like metaphysics and epistemology, sort of what exists and how can we come to know what exists. Love, the topic for love right now is sort of, can love be rational? Like, is there such thing as having reasons to fall in love with somebody, or is love always irrational? I don't know what that is. I guess that's a topic in philosophy that doesn't fit into the classic divisions. Personal identity, this is a metaphysics topic. So what are we? Are we human beings? Are we souls? Are we brains? Are we personalities? Are we something else? That's that. Patriotism and nationalism. So is there anything wrong with being a patriot, with sort of having certain sorts of feelings towards your country? And being partial towards one's country members. So yeah, is there anything objectionable about that? So that's political philosophy. Scientific realism, this is philosophy of science. This is about whether we have reason to believe in the existence of things that science tells us exist, or things that exist in scientific theories but which we can't see. So I've never seen an electron, and yet if you read a science textbook, they're talking about electrons. So should I really believe that there are electrons in the world? Skepticism. So skepticism is the idea that we can't know anything, and there's a lot of debate about, why should we be skeptics or why should we not be skeptics? And so we'd read some classic stuff from Hume and Descartes and Zhuangzi, and then some contemporary stuff. And that's epistemology. The annihilation of caste. So what are some reasons to get rid of caste? What are some arguments for and against? Political philosophy, of course. The existence of God. So that's, of course, metaphysics. We'd go through some arguments. Well, I say some arguments. Mostly we'd be focusing on what's called the cosmological argument. Yeah, basically it would be about the cosmological argument and then a little bit of other stuff. The meaning of life. So what is the meaning of life? What's the purpose of existence? This is the same kind of topic as existentialism. To some extent, the existentialists are giving one kind of answer to this question, and then this topic is looking at many more answers to this question. Then finally, the riddles of induction. So this is philosophy of science and mostly epistemology. So every day the sun rises, every day in the past the sun has risen, and so I conclude that every day in the future the sun will rise. But the problem is all my evidence for the fact that the sun will rise in the future is the fact that the sun has risen in the past. But having evidence about the past, does that give you evidence about the future? Because what if the future is different from the past? Things change sometimes. So how can you know anything about the future just on the basis of looking in the past? So that's the classic riddle of induction, and we'll get that from Hume. And then there's a sort of new riddle of induction, sort of updated version of it that we would read about. And those are the topics. So I look forward to seeing what people choose.